Okay, so we're not starting this story with an engine or a blueprint or some technical drawing. No, we're starting with an ending. Think of it like a crime scene, one that's gone cold for more than 100 years.
So, let's set the scene. The date is September 29th, 1913. A man is on a ship steaming from Antwerp to London. He's on top of the world, really. His invention, it's about to change everything.
And the setting? It's just perfect for a mystery. It's midnight. You're in the middle of the English Channel. The water is black, churning. The air is cold, thick with fog. And you can just imagine, deep down in the belly of that ship, these huge, powerful pistons are just pounding away, a constant, rhythmic heart of iron and oil. The crazy thing is, they're the children of his mind.
So Rudolf Diesel, he steps out onto the deck of the ship, the SS Dresden, and then he's just gone, never seen again. His coat was found folded neatly over the railing, his cabin untouched, the bed not even slept in. The guy who literally gave the modern world its heartbeat just vanished into the fog.
So you have to ask, right? Was the man who invented the engine that moves basically everything in our world, was he a victim of his own success? I mean, that's the question that just hangs over his entire legacy. And to even begin to answer it, we've got to go back to the problem he was absolutely obsessed with solving.
All right, Section 1, the quest for a perfect engine. So to really get the mystery of the man, you have to get the world he was trying to blow up, a world that ran on, well, just staggering waste.
You see, the whole industrial age ran on steam power. But here's the dirty secret. It was a hungry, incredibly wasteful beast. I mean, look at this. A steam engine had what? 10% thermal efficiency? That means for every 10 shovels of coal you threw into the fire, 9 of them were just gone, wasted as heat. The gasoline engine, the auto engine, was a bit better, maybe 20%, but still so much waste. And for a guy like Diesel, this wasn't just bad engineering. It was an insult to the laws of physics.
And that brings us to this idea of a rational heat motor. This was Diesel's holy grail. You gotta understand, he wasn't some guy just messing around in a garage. He was a brilliant scientist, totally obsessed with thermodynamics. His mission wasn't just to build a better engine, he wanted to build the perfect engine, one that would squeeze every last drop of energy out of fuel. And his big idea, it was both brilliantly simple and totally radical. So a normal gasoline engine, the Otto cycle, right? It sucks in a mix of air and fuel, squeezes it a little, and then a spark plug makes it go bang. Diesel's idea was completely different. He said, forget the spark plug, get rid of it. Instead, you just take pure air and compress it. I mean, compress it with so much force that it gets insanely hot. Hot enough that when you spray the fuel in, it just explodes on its own. No spark needed, just pure, raw pressure.
Okay, moving on. The mechanical beast awakens. Now, it's one thing to have a great idea on paper. It's a whole other thing to build it out of iron and steel without it, blowing up in your face. And Diesel's journey was basically a 4-year war with physics. And his first try, back in August of '93, a total disaster. He fired it up and the explosion was so violent it nearly killed him. It literally blew parts off the engine, sending shrapnel flying right past his head. I mean, most people would have just walked away, but not Diesel. He went right back to the drawing board, redesigned the whole thing, and after 4 long, hard years of failures and tweaks, finally, in 1897, he had his breakthrough.
And this quote right here, from his patent in 1892, this is years before the engine even worked, it just nails his whole concept. He's saying the magic isn't the combustion itself, it's what happens before the combustion. It's all about creating that insane pressure and temperature first. That was the secret sauce.
And here it is, the number that changed the world, 26.2%. Now, I know that might not sound super impressive today, but back in 1897, that was absolutely revolutionary. It was more than double the efficiency of the best steam engines of the day. This number proved that his rational heat motor wasn't just some crazy theory anymore. It was real.
Next up, the price of revolution. Here's the thing. When your invention can completely upend the entire global economy, you don't just get applause, you make some very, very powerful enemies.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The whole world ran on coal. Empires were built on coal. The entire industrial machine, trains, ships, factories, it was all steam-powered, all fed by this massive coal industry. Then, out of nowhere, this guy comes along with an engine that's twice as efficient and runs on cheap oil. This wasn't just a new gadget. This was a direct threat. It was basically a declaration of war on the powers that be.
And it put a huge target on Rudolf Diesel's back. Okay, so the engine that conquered the world. Because despite all the enemies he was making, the engine was just too damn good. You couldn't ignore it. Its power and its efficiency were just undeniable, and it started to take over, well, everything.
And the takeover was fast. I mean, really fast. Look at this timeline. In just 10 years, his engine went from a prototype to powering everything. We're talking ships crossing the oceans, the first trucks hauling goods, locomotives pulling trains. By 1913, it was even in US Navy submarines, giving them a range and power nobody had ever seen before.
And what's just wild is how little has fundamentally changed. More than 100 years later, the absolute backbone of our world, the trucks that deliver your stuff, the trains, the massive cargo ships, the farm equipment that grows our food, all of it still runs on an engine that is a direct descendant of what Rudolf Diesel built way back in 1897. It's incredible.
Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started. Back to that foggy night on the English Channel. Back to the man who created the workhorse of the modern world, standing on a deck, just moments from becoming a ghost.
The end of this story is just as grim as it is mysterious. About 10 days after he vanished, a Dutch boat found a body floating in the North Sea. But it was in such bad shape that it was completely unrecognizable.
So the crew, they followed the custom of the sea. They recovered some personal items from the man's pockets, things like a pill case, a wallet, an ID card. And then they returned the body to the water. It was only later that Diesel's own son identified those items as belonging to his father. Just think about that. The man who invented the engine that powers our world was just left in the ocean.
So what happened? Was it suicide? People say he was in poor health, maybe had financial troubles, or was it something more sinister? Was he taken out by his rivals, or maybe by spies who wanted his patents, with a world war just around the corner? The truth is, we'll probably never know. His entire life was about logic and order, but his death is just this haunting, unwritten final chapter.
So you have this story of genius, obsession, and this deep, dark mystery. Rudolf Diesel gave us this incredibly powerful and efficient engine, but his own story leaves us with a really unsettling question. I mean, he spent his entire life trying to master the laws of physics, only to be consumed by total chaos in the end. It really makes you think, what is the true cost of changing the world?